Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing good. I don't normally stream on Wednesday nights. However, we don't normally have a couple dozen gun control bills trying to be pushed through the Michigan House and Senate all at the same time, all in lightning speed either. So this stream's going to be most interesting to my Michigan viewers. That's why I put Michigan right there in the title. But hopefully from those of you that are from other states, you look at what they're attempting to do here and look at warning signs or things that could be coming in your states. Because, like I said before, it's my opinion that anywhere in the United States, no matter where you are, is only one election cycle or one tragedy away from literally flipping everything completely upside down on its head. So I did a video last night, and I got the video out late, and I know a lot of you got to watch it today. And I'm also going to do another short video after I'm done with this stream that I'm going to post tomorrow morning for those of you that don't like the longer format streams. I just wanted to do a stream so that we could all kind of talk, and I'm going to look at the chat when I get a chance from time to time and see how you guys are weighing in, kind of see what's going on with 2A community in Michigan here, because I'll get into it in a second. It's grim. I'm just being honest with you guys, but I'm here to encourage you, and I am going to try to help keep a plan together to try to defeat this up until the brutal end. So there's a whole bunch of bills at this point in the House and in the Senate. Some of the House bills are basically the House version of previous Senate bills that I've already talked about on the channel, but there are a couple new ones, and that's why I put them in the title. House bills number 4149 and 4150. And I have those bills here. We're going to go over those in just a brief second. I was just in Lansing yesterday. I'm probably going to go back again tomorrow on a moment's notice, just to let you guys know what's going on yet again, because it's quickly evolving and things are moving very fast. Now, if you want to see links to all of these bills, as well as a plan of action, go over to my locals community. If you look right down there in the description, the top line is a link to a locals post. I took the time to go through and find links to all of these bills where it makes it really easy for you, as well as a list of these are ones that could possibly be in vulnerable districts. These are representatives and senators. These are the key members to contact where there might be. And I say might, just depending on what you all can do. And the more all of you can keep informing your friends, family, and neighbors of what the heck's going on. Look, guys, I've been doing this channel for a long time, and I think you guys know me well enough by now, but some of you are new. I have to be honest with you. All of these bills passing, and when I say all, I mean every last one, is almost inevitable. If anybody even attempts to say that I'm fear-mongering right now, they don't know me at all. And they haven't been digging through this stuff as much as I have. And they haven't been walking the halls of Lansing as much as I have. This is like literally the 11th hour. And I'm here to motivate you guys, though. I'm here to be your friend. We need to be together and offer encouragement. That's why I'm here. But I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not telling you that it's just okay. It's actually not okay. There is a teeny bit of, I'm not going to say good news, but a silver lining. We might have one more week to try to do a call to action and just try to get, look, we need like millions of people involved in the state of Michigan. There's over 10 million people in the state of Michigan, and over half of them are gun owners. Now, gun owner and Second Amendment supporter is not always the same thing, but there's millions of people who claim to be pro 2A that own AR-15s, that have CPLs, that say things like, from my cold dead hands, a republic if we can keep it. We need a lot more than just the few of us right now that are actually paying attention and actually care. We need to have everybody care. That's if they care about the state of Michigan and care about the USA at all. So I put that post on my locals community. Locals is a censorship-free site. It's completely free to join, or it's a place where you can financially support the channel. And it does cost me money to go to Lansing because I have to take the time off work. I have to spend the gas money. I have to pay $15 to park. And you guys have been generous in the past with super chats, channel members, Patreon, those of you who support on locals. And I take up that little bit of money because I know none of us are well-to-do, and I'm actually going there and spending time to try to get you guys intel and try to come up with a plan. So definitely go over to that locals post, join my locals community. I do extra content there that I just can't do on YouTube, including weekly live streams where I touch guns. And by the way, this isn't necessarily related, but if any of you guys are into 5.56 M855 green tip, I have a pinned post over there right now about an excellent deal that I just found today that I can't promote here, but there's also opportunity to save a lot of money on deals for stuff that you guys are into. So here's what's going on. What's happening, Crazy Heathen? I was actually going to talk about you in just 1 minute here. You guys will see the Crazy Heathen channel here. I'm going to pop him up real quick because I don't know how long he's able to hang out tonight. A lot of you guys have been asking me, are we going to do a rally? Okay, we're going to get to these bills in just 1 minute. 4150, 4149. I'm going to do a brief video on these that I'll post tomorrow as well. But people say, are we going to do a rally? Are we going to do a peaceful armed protest that's protected by our First Amendment right as American citizens? Our First Amendment doesn't grant us that right. No, it's an unalienable right to peaceably assemble, to redress our government for grievances, right? And I do believe that protests and rallies are very, very important. The right to peaceably assemble is protected by the First Amendment. Over on the west side of the state, there is a rally. I think that if you guys go to the Crazy Heathen channel, he's one of the organizers of that. So definitely look for his channel, bookmark it, check it out after we're done with this stream. He has a rally. It's April 15th, and I posted it on my Facebook last night. When I'm done with the stream tonight, I'm going to post a little digital flyer on this channel. So if you guys want to know about that rally, make sure you check out the Crazy Heathen channel right here. I've met him in real life several times at past Second Amendment rallies in Michigan. Him and his crew, they're tough, and they believe in the boots on the ground approach when it comes to trying to stand up to a tyrannical government and peaceably assemble and protest. So there is a rally. It's not at the Capitol building. It's closer to the west side of the state. It's about an hour and a half from where I'm at. I have it selected as interested in going. I'm going to try my best to go. I think I'm going to go, but I'll let you guys know when I can confirm that, because right now I do have something on the 15th, but I'm trying to reschedule it and flip my plans around. So there you guys go. I know of at least one Second Amendment rally in Michigan, and a ton of you guys have been asking about that. So yes, we need to do lots of things. Certain people are better at organizing events than I am. I've told you, many of you in the comments, I'm like, look, I'm not really the event organizer type. I don't really know how. I'm the guy that's out trying to rally the troops, though, and change the culture war. I'm the guy that's going to Lansing, and I want to talk about this stuff. And we need both. We need people that are willing to be boots on the ground. We need people that are going to have rallies. We need people that are ready to go for whatever scenario. And we also need people that are going to try to promote public discourse and make people aware. So I'm doing the best I can with what I do. And I'm thankful there's other people that are doing other things, because like all of us, look, guys, 2A EDU is not what I do for a living. Yes, there's some revenue that comes in, but it all goes right back out into the channel. I was not able to quit my job, my landscaping, snow plowing in the wintertime like some of these really big channels can. And I can only do so much. So please let me know what you guys are doing here in the chat, by the way, and offer me some encouragement, because I need it too. I'm here for you guys, and I need to find out what some of you guys are doing and give me some good news, give me some strategy. I can't read every single chat live while we're going in real time, because it wouldn't be congruent for people to listen to the next day. However, I read all of these afterwards, and that's why I keep coming back. His real name's Phil Robinson, which I knew. I just don't like to dox people on here. So definitely, if you guys are following me on Facebook, I already have it posted on my wall there. If you guys want to know about the rally, and just give me a couple hours, okay? And I'm going to put it up there so you guys can know about the rally that's going on over, I'll just call it the western side of the state, middle western side, meaning not all the way up north or in the south, just kind of the mid north to southwestern edge of the state over there. All right, cool. Yeah, talk amongst each other, guys. I'm hearing you guys brainstorming right now. I see James Brandon. I'm glad you and Phil are able to connect right now, because I was like, dude, I'm trying to find a rally. I'm trying to find a rally. Then my friend Jane Locke texted it to me, just so you know, Phil, and she said, Phil's having a rally. That was last week. And I'm like, all right, let me finish what I'm doing. And I get so busy. Then you hit me up in my comments. I'm like, I need to post his rally. So Jane was on me about it. And sometimes I forget stuff temporarily, but I circle back around and try to keep up with whatever I can. There's so much stuff going on right now. James Grissom. Guys, this 4150 and 4149, this is terrible. And I am going to do a short video. I know there's probably already somebody being like, dude, get to the point. No, the point tonight is for us all to talk about what's going on, and for me to tell you guys things I'm doing, and for you guys to brainstorm and get together. We need to make freedom and the Second Amendment and all of our God-given rights that are protected by the Bill of Rights. We need to make this pop culture. We need to make this mainstream. If there was a new movie that premiered tonight about comic book characters, and the Marvel stuff's cool, and even though they're woke, but if it was that tonight, and I was doing a premiere of like some never-seen footage, there'd probably be 1,000 people in here watching. But we need to make like being a true American cool again. And we need to make being a patriot cool again. And we need to look back at the true heroes of our culture, people like Benjamin Franklin. When he was asked, literally, at the founding of this country, he was asked by a woman, sir, what do we have? A democracy or a republic? I'm sorry, a republic or a monarchy? And he said, a republic, if you can keep it. Well, we've fallen from a republic to a democracy now in the state of Michigan, it appears. I did a Freudian slip earlier just now because Ben Franklin was asked, do we have a monarchy or a republic? And we had fled that monarchy to form this republic. Now it seems we have a democracy in many parts of the United States, including Michigan. And what's a democracy? Well, it's quite simply put, two wolves voting against one sheep on what's for dinner. I want you guys to remind everybody of that in Michigan right now. Just think about that. These Democrats, and look, I know a bunch of you hate Democrats, you hate Republicans. I can't stand the parties either, red versus blue. No, I'm not about that either. However, I'm going to call a spade, and you guys can fact check me. When every single Senate Democrat is a co-sponsor of these insane gun control bills like red flag laws, okay, what they call storage restrictions, all right, as well as universal registration, licensing scheme, background check scheme for all long guns, including your double barrel fudge shotgun, grandpa's revolver, doesn't matter, okay? And every single one of the co-sponsors are all Democrats. Yes, it is the Lansing Democrats. Now, I suspect there's probably going to be some Lansing Republicans go along with it. And a lot of this is my opinion and us trying to build culture on this channel. But when I'm just reporting the news and reporting the facts, when every single Democrat's co-sponsoring a bill, yeah, it is the Democrats in Lansing right now that have a 2-seat majority in the House and a 2-seat majority in the Senate. They're acting like they have a super majority. They're acting like they have 90% of the support of we the people in Michigan. I don't like Michigander. If you guys like Michigander, that's fine. I like to call us Michiganians or just Michigan people, because Gander's like, you silly goose. You know what I mean? I'm not really, it's just not my thing, but you guys can call it whatever you want. They literally don't care anymore about, if you want to know my opinion, more than half the people in Michigan, way more than half the people in Michigan that didn't vote Democrat. Because we had the elections last time, right? Can't say much. I can't say much at all. I'm on YouTube. I ranted about the elections on Locals, though, last weekend. Those of you guys that watched that stream, you guys know what I'm talking about. We had the elections, the most free and fair, and fortified elections of all time. I get it, guys, but we need to focus on what's going on right now. So a lot of people are still talking about that. I encourage you to talk about that, but that happened. And right now we have some stuff that we need to focus on. That's literally these gun control bills. I want to read James Grissom's chat here real quick because I hear you, man. He says, I've signed every petition I can and emailed my rep here in Canton. As a roofer, it's hard to get time off work to go to Lansing, keep up the good work. I totally get it. It's hard for me to get time off work too, but that's why I'm having this talk tonight and why I'm putting out all these videos, because I know all of you can't go. Just because I'm going doesn't mean that like I care about my state more than you guys. Don't ever think that. I'm just going because somebody has to, and if I'm able to figure out a way to do it, I'll do it so that we can know what the heck's going on, right? What's happening, American Patriots Apparel? What's happening, Lori DeVries? Nice to see you. Yeah, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. It does help the algorithms here. As far as getting this message out to other people, they do definitely restrict this type of content. It's not really what they're all about. Pure Misery with a super generous super chat. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And that helps me make my trips to Lansing and do the other stuff I'm doing. And it will go back into the channel. So thank you so very much. He says, keep up the good work, brother. Also, YouTube doesn't have an American flag emoji. Great. I did not know that. I can't really do emojis for myself or on my end of things, but I don't know. Maybe they have a CCP emoji, right? Maybe that's the one they want you to use from now on in Michigan. I'm not sure. I think it depends on what you guys are. I have an upside down American flag emoji for that my channel members can use. That lets you guys use different emojis. Upside down is not disrespect to the flag, just so you guys know. It means that we're in duress. It means we're in trouble. It's from old times when the fort's under attack. They put the flag upside down, hoping if reinforcements saw that they could come in and lend some help. And that's actually where we're at right now. This state of Michigan is in duress big time, and I hope there's some reinforcements. I hope there's some people that are, hopefully every minute here there's somebody realizing, saying, what the heck's going on? They're literally trying to do this. They're literally trying to, oh yeah, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Avaster Bone just became a YouTube channel member. Well, thank you. I appreciate the support, and you might be able to find some of those extra emojis. Okay. So I talked about 13 gun control bills in the House. A lot of those are more or less, I don't want to say mirrors because I'm still reading through them to find nuances, but they're more or less House versions of those Senate bills. And when you add all of those bills together, that's where they're trying to shove through the red flag, the universal background checks, registration, licensing scheme, as well as the so-called safe storage. Safe storage for the criminal. In fact, let's cut to the chase. Every one of these laws would not have stopped what happened at MSU. Literally none of them. It's already illegal to murder, obviously, as it should be. You don't have the right to murder somebody, and that's always been against the law in this country, and always will be. It was also a gun-free zone. The person had already previously broken several other Michigan gun control laws that didn't work because, first of all, criminals don't care about following laws. That's why they're criminals. And second of all, the prosecutor didn't even prosecute to the extent of the law. So let's get that straight right now. And I want you guys to remember that when you're talking to your friends and neighbors. None of these laws they're trying to pass right now in Michigan are even germane to what happened at MSU. Period. And even the laws we already had on the books that were somewhat germane didn't stop him. No. That's probably a good way to reach some people that are kind of more of the middle of the road. Now, what I say is this. All gun control is unconstitutional, obviously. And I don't think it should be a crime to carry a handgun without a CPL in your vehicle in Michigan. That's where I stand. I know that's where a lot of you guys stand too. But when you're talking to your friends, your neighbors, the people at church, at work, in the town square, online, your social media, you'll have to decide what's the best way to approach them. And as soon as I say all gun control laws are unconstitutional, yeah, both the Michigan and United States constitutions literally say that. Some people will say, amen, brother, we're on the same page. Other people look at me and say, you're nuts. Look, we're fighting a war right now. We're fighting a culture war. So all of you need to be very smart and strategic and know how to talk to certain people. It might be in your best interest. Now, you need to stay true to yourself. I'm not telling you to waffle or to lie to anybody. You guys stay true to yourselves, but I'm just bringing up some strategy here. With some people, it might be best to approach it in the manner of, hey, We already have enough gun control laws on the books. And those laws did not affect this recent criminal at MSU. That might be a way to approach somebody a little bit better, where you might get their ear and they might be more likely to oppose this than just simply saying, shall not be infringed. You're an idiot and let's fight right now and get our fist out. If you agree with even one gun control law, you guys decide. I just want to remind you, everybody doesn't think exactly like you do. And don't compromise your principles. Please don't mistake what I'm saying here. But I found a lot of people that kind of are like, yeah, I'm pro Second Amendment. When I just say stuff like, look, we already have all these laws on the books already. Now, note, I don't tell them that I support the laws we have on the books, because I support zero gun control. I just simply say, look, we already have all these gun control laws on the books already. None of them stopped this crazy person. And then they stopped for a minute, and I'm like, dude, it was already a gun-free zone. He didn't care. He had already gotten in trouble for violating several other gun control laws, like possessing a handgun in a vehicle without a CPL, failing to register his handgun. The registration of handguns didn't stop him. Why would registration of a rifle that he didn't even use stop the next one? See, those are talking points that you guys can bring up when you're talking to people. So here's the two new ones. Yes, JJ Rainey, I don't agree with any gun control laws whatsoever. They're all unconstitutional. And if you want to tell everybody you see that, that's totally fine with me. I'm just saying there's some people out there that if you just remind them, I'm not telling you to agree with them, just remind them and say, look, we already have, just in the state of Michigan alone, these pages and pages of gun control bills already. And they didn't do anything to help this. So why do we need more? And then as you get to know that person together and talk more, then start saying, by the way, since none of those previous laws worked or helped anything, let's start repealing those. But we can't even think about repealing any gun control laws right now. This is more of a long-term way to win this culture war that I'm talking about. Right now, we just need to convince as many people as possible to oppose these, because there's no way we're going to repeal any gun control in the Michigan legislature right now. That's literally impossible. What's happening, Ronald? Matt, how you doing, man? No, I was not saying to compromise, and I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but I was not saying to compromise with anyone. It's just a good foot in the door for somebody that you're not quite sure what they stand and say, hey, you know, we already have all these laws on the books, right? They didn't do any good. It's just a way to start a conversation. That's all I meant by that, because I've always said, and I'm not going to change my mind, every last one. Every last gun control law is 100% unconstitutional because, well, shall not be infringed is pretty pointed and only means one thing. So, nope, I don't want anyone to compromise on anything. I'm just telling you how you can start conversations with people without getting in a fist fight. Sometimes you just have to play a little chess with people that aren't 100% like you, so. And I think you know exactly what I was saying. I saw another super chat here, and I'm going to read that. The Rios 7018, thanks for the generous super chat. I appreciate it. Says, I'm not from Michigan, but I'm from Texas. We are patriots. I can't support much, but I sent what I can at the moment for at least a lunch, bud. Thanks for what you do. Well, I appreciate it, man, and God bless Texas. I know you guys have had actually some success lately with repealing some gun control and moving some things forward. That's an awesome thing. I know your state's constantly in the limbo between being red and purple. So I really appreciate it, dude. And yeah, it would be nice to be able to get some lunch one of these times when I go to Lansing instead of just a couple granola bars in my little baggie. But I know how to travel on a budget, guys. I try to be the best steward possible as all your generous donations. All right. These are two more new ones. House Bill 4150 and 4149. And this is going to affect the CPL holders as well as everybody else. So, as you guys are familiar with, there's certain places where you can't possess a firearm at all or carry a pistol at all if you're not a CPL holder. There's other places that whether you're a CPL holder or not, you still can't carry concealed. There's concealed versus open. I wish I could have my buddy Tom Lambert from Michigan Open Carry on here right now, but I decided to do this stream late. And here's the crazy part. I was literally talking to Tom Lambert. He's like a genius when it comes to all the nuances of open carry versus concealed carry and much of Michigan gun law. We were literally in Representative Angela Regas' office, okay? Me, him, Brandon Boudreaux, and we recorded a video in there with Great Lakes Gun Rights. And then after Brendan had to leave and go over to the Senate, Tom Lambert just gives me like this law lesson for like an hour straight. I'm like all these nuances of things that I had some misconceptions about some of the Michigan carry law too. Now, while we're talking about that, we didn't know it, but they were introducing this stuff yesterday. Okay. So this could turn everything upside down on its head. So House Bill 41 and 49 are both interconnected. In fact, they're so interconnected that it says that House Bill 4150 can't go into effect until Senate bill, and notice how they left this blank, meaning there's going to be a Senate bill that companions this soon. They just don't have the bill quite yet. And House Bill 49. So these are sister bills. These are married to each other, whatever wording you guys want to use. They have to pass together for them to take force and effect. However, they're actually slightly different. So House Bill 4149, we're talking concealed carry of a pistol. And this is amending a 1927 Public Act, which is reminding us that we have, about 100 years of gun control in Michigan, actually with the very first carry laws back in the 1870s. There was a time where you just couldn't conceal carry at all in Michigan. Did you guys know that? From 1870 until around, I believe it was 1925, you just couldn't conceal carry a pistol at all. Then they started giving out these licenses and safety inspections and different versions of that as it's evolved today. But there was a period of time in this state, like we're talking like 150 years ago or so now, where you just couldn't carry a concealed pistol at all. Just keep that in mind. Well, we've gone forward in certain areas. Now we're going backwards again. Okay. I'm trying to think of where to start with this because I don't want to read every word of it. But I always love this. Somebody brought this up recently. The people of the state of Michigan enact. Yeah, that's just a slap right in your face. Like, the people? Do you guys enact this? Well, according to them, yes. Okay. It says, subject to subsection 5, an individual licensed under this act to carry a concealed pistol, or who is exempt from licensure under section 12A, which is H, shall not carry a concealed pistol on the premises of the following. Now, we already have this. Now, this says a concealed pistol, which under current law, note it doesn't say whether you can openly carry it or not. That's a whole nother topic. But what they're doing right this minute, because they're going to close all that in the next bill. So let me just move on here, because this gets convoluted and seems kind of circular for a few minutes here. I'm not a lawyer, so none of this is legal advice, but I just want to let you guys know what's going on, and you'll get in a second here that it's crazy. Okay, so a school or school property, except that a parent or legal guardian of a student of the school is not precluded from carrying in their vehicle on school property when that parent or legal guardian is dropping off. Now, this is just a side note, but look, this is just shows you how woke they are now. This is part of the old law, but they just had to do this. They had to strike out. Look what this used to say. Okay, we're talking about a parent or legal guardian. If he or she is what the current law says, is dropping the student off at the school, they had to strike he or she and change it to the parent or legal guardian. They're so woke now. They won't even allow he and she in these laws. And I just wanted to bring that up. I know that's not Second Amendment related, but when we talk about the culture war, look what the heck's going on here. And this isn't all these new laws. Every chance they get, they strike any type of he or she. Yeah, because the people writing these bills are so woke. They can't tell the difference between a man and a woman anymore. They don't want to acknowledge that there's women and that there's men and that there's two genders. They don't even want to. I don't know. That's just whatever. Let me move on to the gun control stuff because that could get me in a whole nother rant. And I know that's probably not why you guys are here right now. But yeah, they struck he and she because we can't even have that anymore. Now, I know the difference between a man and a woman, but I bet you half of these wouldn't even answer you. All right. A public or private child care center or daycare center or public private child caring institution, okay, a sports arena or a stadium, a bar or a tavern licensed under the Michigan Liquor Control Code. Notice it says licensed. Now, where the primary source of income of the business is the sale of alcoholic liquor by the glass and consumed on the premises. All right. I'm just going over this real quickly. If you guys want to see all these bills, as well as very importantly, the key reps and senators to contact, these are what's been deemed the most vulnerable ones. And thanks for sending me that email, by the way, Ron. I copied and pasted all of that stuff into a post on Locals. Just go over there. It's totally free to join. I don't like to make all of our plans public, first of all. And second of all, there's stuff I can post there that YouTube would not allow with all their terms and conditions. All right, they're talking about any property or facility owned or operated by a church, synagogue, mosque, temple. A lot of you guys know this, so I'm going to skim through pretty quickly. Entertainment facility where seating capacity is 2,500. A hospital, a dormitory or classroom of a community college or university. This is where you can't conceal carry. A building. Now, this is the new one they just added right here. So right now, you know there's a policy at the Capitol put on by this Capitol Commission. This is not the Michigan House of Representatives. This is not the Michigan Senate. This is this commission. Now, this is starting to remind you guys of the ATF, who just gets to summarily make laws, allegedly, supposedly, according to them, about pistol braces, making up to 40 million people in the United States felons. We've had bump stocks, frames, and receivers. It's called the bureaucracy, the deep state. Everyone hates it. Just so you know, Michigan has a deep state bureaucracy. And they've already put in a ban, if you will, or a policy against open carry inside the Capitol. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but it's a trespassing offense, etc. All right. Now they're starting to codify this stuff into law, and they're going to make the whole Capitol a gun-free zone too, soon, by the way. That's yet another one I still need to report on. But right here, they just added this on as prohibited places, okay? A building owned or leased by this state or that part of a building owned or leased by this state. So any part of a building that's owned or leased by the state of Michigan just got added to all those places that, well, if you have a CPL, you read the back of it and stuff, right? Okay. That's just been added on. Keeping in mind, that's the People's House of Representatives in the state of Michigan in the Capitol building. It's the People's Senate. It's the People's building. All of us Michiganians and all of us who've lived in Michigan and paid a penny in taxes before then, pay for that building. Pay for its upkeep. Pay for its salary. This doesn't belong to the Michigan House of Representatives or the Senate or the governor. These buildings or the halfway secret bureaucratic Capitol Commission committee. No, it belongs to us. It belongs to me and you. It's our buildings that we pay for. And they're adding that to the list of prohibited places. Now, here's the one right here. 4150. This is talking about possessing a firearm. This is a doozy. This is a bad one. The people of the state of Michigan enact, except as provided in subsection 2, a person shall not possess a firearm on the premises of any of the following. And this is places right now where people without a CPL can't possess, and I'm going to cut to the chase. They struck out the exception for CPL holders right here. And we're going to get to that, but before I read these, don't just think to yourself, oh, I'm a CPL holder, I'm okay. No, you're not okay. Just paying for a CPL, doing the FBI background check, fingerprints, training, your assertion that you've been continuing your training, all of that's not good enough anymore. Okay, let's read this. A depository financial institution or a subsidiary affiliate of a depository financial institution. So that's your banks, credit unions, etc. Probably more than that. I'm not a lawyer. A church or other house of religious worship. A court, a theater, a sports arena, a daycare center, a hospital, an establishment licensed under the Michigan Liquor Control Act. Licensed under. It doesn't say they have to sell liquor here. It doesn't say that at all. That was the other section. But when you combine it with 4150, it basically makes all of these places gun-free zones, even with the CPL. Licensed under the Michigan control to sell liquor. Now, they could be licensed and hold a liquor license, but choose not to sell liquor at that location, actually. So don't think that just because you don't see bottles of booze on the wall means they're not licensed. They could own a license. It's a trap. All this stuff's a trap. Okay. A building owned or leased by this state or that part of a building owned or leased by this state. So we see that sentence pop up again here. And keep in mind, this is literally a mere possession. It's not stating that whether it's concealed or not. Let me go back to the beginning here. A person shall not possess a firearm. Okay. So they've added any building owned or leased by the state. This section does not apply to any of the following. So there are still some exceptions. Just not a CPL holder anymore. A person who owns or is employed by or contracted by an entity described in subsection 1, if the possession of that firearm is to provide security services for that entity. It says employed, so I would assume you'd have to have proof of employment, not just them stating so. Okay. A peace officer. Now, hold on a minute. This is something you guys can talk to some of your left friends, some of your Democrat friends, leftists. We'll just say leftist, other side, okay? Because I hate the two-party system we're in, too. That's why we have such problems we have. But I've seen nothing but, for the last couple years, defund the police. We hate the police by much of the people on the left and people on the right, but especially on the far left. But they always still want to keep arming the police, which they want to disarm, and there's a lot of hypocrisy here. Remind people of that hypocrisy. And I liked it at the committee hearing yesterday. There was other committee hearings today. Tom Lambert actually brought that up, and Representative Dan Wiegela, who's like so far left of most Democrats, he actually broke from caucus and voted against the Democrats on one of the bills, like the Bernie bro type of guy, right? For lack of a better word. He's literally like so far left. And Tom Lambert, when he was testifying in that hearing, he says, I think it's strange that all of your supporters and people that you guys represent hate the police and want to defund the police. Now, I'm heavily summarizing what Tom Lambert said. He's like, but you guys are exempting police officers. Many people look at police officers as a danger and as a threat. He was playing that angle with them, and it was a genius angle. And Dan Wiegela, you can look him up, Representative Wiegela, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not mispronouncing his name on purpose. I don't know how. He just sits there and listens with like his jaw dropped, and he goes, can you repeat that? It's all available on the Michigan House of Representatives website under that House TV section, okay? It's kind of funny. So Tom Lambert, the guy's a genius. If you guys have never met Tom, like, look, yeah, like I would pay money to just sit and listen to that man lecture. He's such a genius. I was fortunate enough. He schooled me for an hour straight on all these nuances yesterday. But he just sits there word for word and repeats himself again. And Representative Wiegel is like, okay, yeah, I don't think so. I think just somebody having a firearm at all is like intimidating and stuff. It's like, oh, really? So you don't want to defund the police anymore and disarm them. Interesting. It's just little things you guys can remember to put in your back pocket when you're talking to some of these people. So the police are exempted, as always. A person who possesses a firearm on the premise of an entity described in subsection 1, if that possession is with the permission of the owner or an agent of the owner of the entity. Now, here's the kicker. A person that violates is guilty of a misdemeanor. So this is criminal, and you can be imprisoned by not more than 90 days or $100 or both. The other one I forgot to mention, you guys, the 4149, it has a 3-tier approach where the first offense is a heavy civil infraction with a big fine, temporary suspension of your CPL. And then it goes up to a misdemeanor on the next subsequent offense. And then the third time around, it's like a 4-year felony. So then you just lose your right. You don't lose the right, but you lose the free exercise of your right to keep and bear arms. You'll always have that right. It's inalienable. Just like Thomas Jefferson said, we're all endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. These are unalienable, but they'll try to take away your free exercise thereof. They'll try to put you behind bars, bankrupt you, and put as many hurdles in place where it just becomes too darn difficult to be able to exercise that right for many people. But yeah, when it gets to 4150, we're just talking about making all these prohibited places, period, shall not possess a firearm. And they struck the line right through, as I showed you. CPL holder is not an exemption anymore. Now, I have my CPL actually coming up for renewal here fairly quickly. Let me grab that real quick here so I can remember exactly how much it costs. It's not cheap, though. I know I spent about $100 for my class years ago. Oh, let's see here. $115. That's a chunk of change. If you're a working man, it is anyways. $115. Oh boy, I'll have to think about it, but not even sure what a CPL would do in this state. Shouldn't even need a CPL at all, like I said before. It's just a talking point to remind your friends, though, that, hey, look, at this guy didn't have a CPL and he still broke the law and they didn't even prosecute him. The Michigan State villain. Thanks for the encouragement, American Patriots Apparel. He said, this is a quality guy right here. You don't find many good people like this guy. Well, thanks, dude. I wouldn't say that's true. There's tons of good people actually hanging out in this chat right now that are just as good as me, but I appreciate it, dude. Thank you. Another super chat. Thanks for the generosity. Evaster Bone, new channel member, and a super chat says, for once, Jamie Churches is not a co-sponsor on gun control bills. 4149 and 4150. I actually noticed that. That's kind of interesting. You guys see my video yesterday? Here's the thing. I said we have 2 Greens in the Michigan House, and we have 3 Jamies. And I like most of the Jamies in the House. And I just left it at that. There's 3 Jamies. One of them's Thompson. You know she's my friend. She's a go-getter. She's a super staunch Second Amendment defender. And if you're new to this channel, check my library. Go to the live tab, by the way. It's in a different spot. If you want to catch up on podcasts, after the fact. And she was my guest. She was sitting right here next to me about a week ago in the chair, right? Well, you guys can't see the chair. That's why I'm pointing down at it. I'm like, she was sitting right here. I'm like, oh, they can't see the chair. Yeah, that was a fun stream that we did. And Jamie Green's a good one, too. I also really like her. So not to mention any names, but I like most of the Jamies in the Michigan House. Look, if you guys go over to my locals post, right now it's right near the top, and I put a link in the description where you guys can get right there. She's on the list. She literally won her race by the narrowest of margins in the whole Michigan House of Representatives, okay? We're talking just a few hundred votes. Far less than 1,000. Way less than. She won by that much, even a little bit less than that. In a very blue-collar district. Now, if you go over to my Facebook, I posted a thing where she's fundraising now off of the fact that Great Lakes Gun Rights has said she might be a good one to contact. You know what I mean? She's fundraising. Look, they're all fundraising off of it. Thanks, Ethan. I appreciate it. Dude, they're all fundraising. What's happening, Mrs. Wayne? Chad Noonan, We the People. Geez, all kinds of good people in here tonight. All right, look. They're fundraising. I was there that day. I was sitting in the gallery, me and like hundreds, if not 1,000 college students. Right after the MSU tragedy. They had a resolution to mourn and to grieve, which is great. Mourning, grieving the loss of a loved one. A lot of these people were friends with those young people that went to that school, and I'm all for it. I'm all for grieving a loss. They weren't just doing that. They were calling for gun control. They were politicizing the death of young people in Michigan, where those young people were not safe because they had signs on doors, making it a criminal empowerment zone, making it where the law-abiding, because these laws only affect the law-abiding. They only affect you and make you less safe because the good people with guns said, I want to be a law-abiding citizen. I don't want to go to college and then get arrested with a criminal record, so they left their guns at home. And the law-abiding listened to those signs. But the criminal didn't listen to those signs, and criminals are never, ever, ever going to listen to those signs. And I didn't know anybody at Michigan State right now. Most of my friends don't even have a college degree, but some of them do. But I still felt sad about the situation. I was like, cool, they're going to grieve. Well, they grieve for 30 seconds, and then they start dancing on the graves of these people trying to grandstand for gun control. Now they're grandstanding for campaign donations off of this. Can you believe that? People that claim that they're the party of compassion. That's sad. It really is. I'm not being hyperbolic. That's a sad thing. That you would campaign and you would... Look, there's the soapbox, there's the ballot box, and there's the bullet box. The casket box isn't one you should be dancing on, quite frankly, in my opinion. I mean, at least let the bodies go down to room temperature and be buried first. They say dancing on the graves is an old saying. Never let a tragedy go to waste. It ain't dancing on the grave anymore. They're on the casket box before they've even been able to fill the casket. Campaigning for gun control. So they had a hearing. It happened yesterday. You can watch it on the Michigan House of Representatives website. They have what's called House TV. It's awkward to use and it's goofy, but you can find it if you click around enough. I'll try to find the link for that, update that locals post to help you guys. I don't want to be that vague. I just didn't quite have that link on there. So that locals post, links in the description for those of you guys just joining. It lists all of these bills where you can click at them, read them, look at them, share them. It also is going to give you a list. This is the most important part of that locals post. A list of the phone numbers and email addresses and names of the key Michigan representatives and senators to focus on right now. And when I mean focus, I mean peacefully, calling, writing, focused. You guys know what I'm saying? So I will definitely try to add where you guys can get to those old House TV sessions because it's a goofy, crappy website. Yeah. They waste so much money in Lansing. Their website's like 1998. But I'll get the links. But anyway, so they did that hearing yesterday. And there was about, I couldn't see everybody in the room, but there was like 4 or 5 people that testified on the side of the Second Amendment, meaning they were in opposition to this gun control. And that was with like House Bill 4127, 4128, which those are insane. Go back if you're new to this channel and watch my recent videos on those so I don't repeat everything I've already said. But just think of that. You're driving down the street and there's a ballot drop box just on the side of the road. You could be a criminal for 40 days in the state of Michigan. If there's one within 100 foot of your house, can't leave your house armed. Can't walk your dog by it. I mean, to say this is a trap, this is insane. I mean, just think about this. Look, it's the sum of the parts is like 10 times bigger than if you added them up individually. Like 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4. You add them all up, it equals 100. You see what they're doing here, right? They're trying to literally corner all of us like rats in a cage. Shove us in the corner. Like you walk by a ballot box, criminal. You go into a store because you need to feed yourself. Oh, they hold a liquor license, criminal. Try to go to the People's House of Representatives to watch a session armed, criminal, criminal, criminal. They call these people lawmakers. I'm starting to call them crime makers. It is my opinion that the intent of the people that are sponsoring these bills and that intend to vote on them are trying to make as many people criminals as possible in the state of Michigan. And they're trying to protect every evil criminal in this state. Because every single one of these laws will only protect the criminals and not the law-abiding. And they will turn all of you into criminals if you fail to comply. So in this hearing, there was a whole bunch of anti-gun people. Moms Demand Action was in there. This one was in there. The other one was in there. I mean, they have billionaires that fund their organizations. They've been known to pay people to go to protest. They have a whole machine. Because the other side that's just hell-bent to destroy America and destroy the state of Michigan, they've been making this pop culture. And they've been trying to get their team rallied up for years and years now, where most of us just say they want to be left alone. And that's actually all I want, is to be left alone too, quite frankly. I get it. But we were outnumbered at least 100 to 1 or more. in the committee hearing yesterday. Now let's fast forward to today. They did a rushed committee hearing. I posted it up like at 1 or 2 in the morning, technically early this morning. It was late last night for me because I hadn't been to bed yet, just trying to let a few people know. I saw Phil, Crazy Heathen, that's been in the chat tonight. He posted it on his at the last second. Because the Democrats that run the committee, they had basically initially was a secret committee that they had planned to have more people come in and testify in support of all this gun control, and we didn't find out till the last minute. Now, I don't have proof of this, but there's no other way it could have happened other than they told their people first, because somehow we got to find out by the flyers that all the anti-gun organizations were passing around saying, hurry up and get in here and fill up this committee. So they had another committee today. I watched that on the House TV as well. I don't know exactly who was in there yet again, but everybody that I heard testify was there that was anti-gun. Now, here's what we thought was going to happen. We thought they were going to do this dog and pony show committee hearing today in the House, pass it through committee, and shove it onto the House floor for a vote on Thursday, have it pass the House Thursday, and then try to cram it through the Senate. Well, I don't want to say we got lucky. It might be because so many of you guys have been calling and writing, and there might be 1 or 2 members. Look, the Democrats only have a 2-member majority in the House, only a 2-member majority in the Senate. Don't forget that. They act like they have a super majority. They actually do not. Something happened. And when I was listening to that committee, the chair of the committee, at the very beginning, she said, and we're going to have another committee hearing on the same exact topic next week. Now, this isn't like the coast is clear. No, it's just like before I was going to say there's 100% chance this stuff's all going to pass this week. Now it's only like a 95% chance this stuff's going to pass, like in the next week. So we have a few more days. I don't want to say the word good news because none of this is good, but that's a teeny little silver lining. So we literally have presumably all throughout the next to this week and weekend to keep calling, writing. Now, it's you writing and calling every day, but better than that, it's you getting 2 or 3 other people to start doing the same thing. You know what I mean? If 100 of us can each get 2 or 3 people, now we've got 300. Some of these people's going to double down, but look, here's the deal. We can either A, get 1 or 2 members to get cold feet. That's all it takes is 1 or 2 members to get cold feet. And then we need to keep remembering to convince the Republicans that they better not be crossing over because pretty much all the Republicans campaign on being pro-Second Amendment. So we have to hold them to their promises. Look, it's not even that we need to convince 1 or 2 Democrats in the House and the Senate to become pro-gun. We probably can't do that. We're not trying to convince them to become pro-gun. What we are trying to convince them is that it might not be good for job security. They might get too much backlash from their constituents and lose their seat and lose their salary and lose the power that they have. There's a decent amount of power. I'm saying decent. There's a lot more powerful positions you could have, obviously, but there's a decent amount of power that's held in having a seat in the Michigan Senate. To a slightly lesser extent, but still a good amount of power that they hold being in the Michigan House of Representatives. And a lot of people don't even want to think about giving up that power. So, yeah, that's one way to look at it. Now, you might be able to if you are, let's just say if you're good enough with your words, if you're convincing enough, you might get a fence setter to change their mind. It does happen. I wouldn't count on that. But the reason we're calling and writing right now is so they can make a calculated business decision, if you will. It shouldn't be this way, but this is the reality of things. Now, Jamie Churches says she's going to double down and she's campaigning on gun control. She won by the slimmest margin in the whole Michigan House. Now, she could be saying that. Meanwhile, talking to her confidants internally about the complete opposite. We don't know that. There's a lot of smoke and a lot of mirrors that goes on in politics. This is called politics right now, guys. I hate politics with a passion. I really do. Now, I have to engage in them right now. I have to go to these politicians. I have to ask questions and I have to find out what's going on just because I have to, not because I want to. Now, again, I don't want to conflate. There are good people right now, though. Actually, this is one of the most pleasant surprises I've had, and that's why I wish if you guys could, not giving you a guilt trip if you can't, but I wish some of you could come to the Capitol with me. I've met quite a few representatives, and now I've been meeting more senators just lately, and there are actually some really, really good people, though, that do look at themselves as public servants and that are pretty cool, actually. I know you guys are going to say, oh, no. No, I'm being serious. If you don't believe me, come to the Capitol. I'll show you guys around. I'll show you where their offices are. I'll show you where the elevator is. Like, it's kind of like a maze when you go into some of these buildings at first. The one's more like a maze, the House Office building. The Senate, that's kind of a maze too, but it's a little different. And then the House, then the main Capitol building itself, it's all a big circle. But that can look like a maze too. I'll literally show you guys around. And some of these people are actually all right people and are really, really fighting the good fight. But I don't want to run for office. I don't want to be a politician, but you have to literally go there and see what the heck's going on. And today it was another room full of anti-gunners. I mean, I wasn't that impressed. It seems like they could have gotten more, but I was impressed with the fact that, again, they had us outnumbered at least 100-1. What do you guys think about that? As far as them showing up to the Capitol, actually showing up there, they get us by about 100-1 normally. They had me about 900-1 that one day, but on average, the other side is 100-1. Okay, so they're going to go back in session. Session's normally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have my schedule right over there. For those of you that follow me on Locals, I posted their schedule as well as a map. This is all in the last week or so on there, showing you guys where all the parking is, parking structure, parking meters, so you know where to park if you want to go. Coming out with a super chat. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, isn't that ironic? I appreciate the support. Now that's good, though. I'm really happy to hear this. Governor of West Virginia signed a campus carry law. And for that, God bless West Virginia, because those young people are going to be a lot safer on those colleges. You know, I don't want to be one of these parents that tells my little girl what to do. She's 10 years old. She's always going to be my baby girl, okay? Even when she's 40, whatever. You guys know how that goes. But when she gets to be a little bit bigger, baby girl, and it's time that maybe she'll want to go to college, we're going to have a talk. And I'll tell you what, right this minute, Daddy ain't going to recommend her go to college. I'm being serious. Now, she'll have input on that because she'll be old enough to, not fully developed brain by 18, obviously, but she'll have some input. I'm not going to be a dictator, but I don't want to send my kid off to a gun-free zone. Maybe I'll say, that's fine. Let's all just move to West Virginia if you want to go to college. Because it's like, for these crazy, deranged psychos, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Gun-free zone, criminal empowerment zone. You go in there, they don't have a chance. And then they had the audacity. Can you guys remember that? This is Michigan State. That's what these people are doing right now. They're politicizing and now raising campaign funds off of Michigan State. They told those students in there, run, hide, and fight. Now, to believe that requires the listener to be dumber than the speaker. They actually have the audacity to insult those young people. Fight? With what? Somebody there's with a gun that just walked past a gun-free zone sign. All the good people in there are totally unarmed. And they had the audacity to tell them to fight? Well, there's an old saying in the gun community that says, don't take a knife to a gunfight. These people didn't even have that. Yeah, this reminds me of we talk about the Bolsheviks, the Leninists, the Stalinists. These are all forms of communism, obviously. Do you remember there was a time in World War II where Stalin needed to get rid of some people? And he used to make people armed with Mosin Nagants, often with no ammo. Shout out to the Mosin Nagant rifle. I own more than a few, but not to what the communists do to kill their own people. He would literally have them do bayonet charges with no ammo against German tank divisions. They would call it the bayonet human wave of attack, where they would just have people with bayonets just run into the line of fire of heavy machine guns, air fire, and tanks. Now, I don't know if I'm being hyperbolic here, but for some reason I remember that when I thought about them say, fight, run, hide, and fight. Are you kidding me right now? That's what state we live in. And for those of you who don't live in Michigan that are here to support us, shout out to all of you. We really need the support and encouragement from all across America right now, because we're all Americans, but that's what it seems like that I would even think about stuff. Yeah. That I would even be able to compare what they're trying to do right now to Stalinist, Leninist, Maoist, the Cultural Revolution. If you see something, say something. Yeah. Does anyone out there have an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife? Thanks for becoming a YouTube member, Chad Noonan. I appreciate you, man. I'm being serious. Anyone in the chat? Any ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband? Anyone have an ex out there? While we're throwing exes out there, ex-roommate. Now, sometimes there's a scenario where it's like, well, can't we just be friends? And you both look at each other and say, yeah, you're even my better best friend, darling. And she says, oh, same thing. We're better friends now that I just caught you cheating and now we're better friends. That can happen, right? It can. Does anyone have any exes out there? Now, you don't have to. I don't need to know your personal info. I'm just asking. Better hope not. Does anyone have a left-wing aunt or uncle? Maybe you don't see the eye to eye on politics with your grandparents. I hope you do. I hope you get along with all these. But what about your cousins? Anyone from a big family and might have first cousins you haven't even seen in years? Huh. Anybody have any police in your area? Mental health professionals? You guys know where I'm heading with this. Do you have a son or a daughter? Just think about this. Your kid's like, well, I want to get into the car with these 8 hoodlum-looking dudes. Your daughter says, I want to get in the car with these 8 hoodlum dudes and go to Detroit for 4 or 5 days or a week, and I'll come back when I'm ready. And you're like, over my dead body. She's like, well, you'll let me go or else I'm going to red flag you. Excuse me? I mean, I've seen some of the bitter arguments people have with their teenage sons and daughters. Does anyone have a daughter or a son or law enforcement agency? Defendant means an individual against which an extreme risk protection order is requested. That's red flag laws. They're really trying to cram this one through. This is their favorite one, actually. Well, of course it's their favorite one because it's the worst one. And it's the most Maoist or communist of all. Did you guys hear anything about the governor trying to send $1.5 billion to the CCP to build a battery plant in Marshall? I digress. Just so much is reminding me of China in this state by the minute here. The defendant, that'd be you, is the person that gets red flagged. Family member means an individual who's related to the defendant as any of the following: a parent, a son, a daughter, a sibling, a grandparent, a grandchild, an aunt or an uncle, a first cousin. Law enforcement agency means any of the following: a sheriff's department, the Department of State Police, a police department of a township, village, or incorporated city. But there's a lot more people that can file. The spouse of the defendant, a former spouse of the defendant, an individual has a child in common with the defendant. Anyone not getting along with their baby mama or daddy anymore? I mean, I doubt it, but Actually, I'm sure that would cover lots of people in the state of Michigan. An individual who has or has had a dating relationship. Dating relationship means like you might have held hands once, or you might have wanted to kiss her even though she shied away. That would still count. You don't even have to get to first base for it to be a dating relationship. An individual who resides or has resided in the same household with the defendant. That could just be, I don't know. Your buddy years ago got kicked out of their parents' house. You let him hang out on the couch for a week or two, and now you're mortal enemies. Imagine that. A family member, I just described what those are. Law enforcement officer. How come every time they keep mentioning more and more cops, the more they keep on talking about all this stuff? Let me know in the chat what that's all about. A mental health professional, whatever that means. An individual who files an action under this section shall do so by filing a summons or a complaint. It goes through, but this is called like they come in and they take the guns first, then they say due process. There is no take first, then due process, because when you reverse the order of things, that becomes no due process at all. I hope all of you are opposing these red flag laws and reminding people what they truly are, because they're going to say this is for the extreme people out there. Oh, really? Really? Like there's not normal good people that don't have like an ex whatever at a certain point, or a cousin or an aunt or uncle that would want to punish you? Or I wonder how that's going to be for the cops when they have to bust someone's door down in the middle of the night, because that's what they've been doing in other states where, look, you don't know. It's called an ex parte hearing. They have a hearing, and the judge doesn't have to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. No, it's just the preponderance of the evidence. The people testifying against you tell their side of the story, but you're not even allowed to know about the hearing, let alone face your accuser, let alone being told the place and time in which the crime was committed. You don't get a jury of your peers. You don't get a court-appointed attorney if you cannot afford one. In fact, you don't even know any of this is going on. You're just found guilty and deemed extreme by somebody who they themselves are probably the extreme one, because I see more and more projection going on every day from the other side, where they take all of their shortcomings and project them onto you. You being a law-abiding citizen, you go to bed for the night and bang, boom, pop, flashbang, you hear your door get busted open. Oof, that was your dog's last breath, and I'm not being sarcastic when I say that. The dogs usually end up being the first ones. So what do? You do what every red-blooded Michigan person would do. And you grab your gun to try to defend against the burglars, the bad guys that just broke in, because of course that's what you assume they are. Because you're a law-abiding citizen. You have your CPL. You registered. You've done the 4473. That's what you might be thinking to yourself. No, it's the police. Multiple people have been killed in such altercations like that. What's that do for police-citizen relations? Not going to make it good. What's that do to the person who has a family that's getting their door kicked in to get their guns confiscated? What's that do if there's a firefight to the police that are tasked with doing that? It's a big mess. This is not to be taken lightly. And there is a track record of red flag laws and what has happened with them in other states, and people have died from this. So you basically can't know anybody, because if you know anybody or have ever known anybody in your life, you can get red flagged. If you're walking or driving down the street, you could become a criminal, because who knows where a drop box is at or a ballot counting facility is at. If it is indeed, though, a criminal breaking in your house in the middle of the night, when seconds matter, police are only minutes away, and that's why you're your own first responder, and we all know that. You have to have your guns locked up in a safe and a cable going through them and rendered unusable as part of the statute there. Now, registration always has led to confiscation. Look at places like Venezuela, Cuba, China, Germany, places where we've had some of the most despotic dictators of all time, and they rounded up the guns because they knew that's what they would have to do to come after the rest of their liberties, and they did. And registration has always led to confiscation. Now, not only do we already have our pistols registered in Michigan and have for a very, very long time, but now they want to register all firearms. Long guns, shotguns, rifles, everything. Licensing. Prohibitions where, again, if you need to loan a gun to your relative who's a single mother, and she knows what's best for herself and her family and knows that there's imminent danger, you can't just hand her a gun because the gun shop's closed. You can't go get a permit and a license to transfer. And even if you already have a gun, you can't have it at the ready because if there's a kid in the home, it has to be locked up and rendered useless to you while the criminal that doesn't follow laws is ready to go and will get the drop on you. Think about that. Can't be secure in your own home. Can't go into public buildings that you paid for, that you own. Can't go to a school, a place that sells alcohol, a bank. I mean, you won't be able to go anywhere. Literally, there's situations where you'd have to sit in your house if you want to remain armed, looking at locked up guns, and wouldn't even be able to leave the threshold of your doorway with a firearm if there's a ballot drop box, whatever that even looks like, whatever that even means, within 100 foot of your home. You know, New York had that sensitive places law, and it was struck down by what they call the NYSERPA v. Bruin. And they said, no, that's way too far. And Clarence Thomas said that you can't just deem everywhere a sensitive place. And you can't just say Times Square is a sensitive place just because. And then they have the audacity, the Michigan legislature, with these House bills, 4127, 4128, to write that. Now 4149 and 4150. They don't care about Supreme Court precedent. They don't care about the very constitutions that they raised their hand, put it on a Bible, and swore to take an oath to protect and defend. In my opinion, not only should all of these bills be illegal on their face, but it should be a crime for anyone to even put their name on this. We already have United States codes, and I hope if any of this passes, there's a bunch of federal lawsuits filed immediately, but I'd like to see somebody literally try to take up deprivation of rights under color of law. It is actually a federal crime in this country, in the United States, and I don't know what country Michigan wants to be part of or not. It seems like a lot of people that are in leadership in Michigan right now would rather us pledge our allegiance to China, in my opinion. And yeah, that's a jaded opinion, but I actually have facts to support that, considering they're trying to put in Maoist-style gun control and human control. And that the governor of Michigan seems like one of the most important things on her agenda is try to give $1.5 billion to the CCP-related battery company. Look, they want to take about 3,200 acres of farmland in Marshall, Michigan, and build a big facility where Ford will basically, this is how I understand it, it might be changing, everything's developing. Ford would basically own the building, and then they lease it to the Chinese. I literally think that this should be a crime to even vote on this, to even propose this. Am I nuts, or does anyone else see where I'm coming from? Yeah, ain't that the truth? I just saw a comment here I want to pen up. I'm going to get off here in just a minute, guys. This was just kind of a let's hang out, and I hope I gave you guys some new information tonight. I'm going to need to, when I'm done here, do a short, concise 8 to 10 minute video real quick on 4150 and 4149, because I know this format isn't for everybody, but I wanted to provide a little digital town square for people to hang out and talk with each other tonight, see what's going on, right? They all want us disarmed so China can take over through them. I don't know, man. I don't like to be jaded like that, but I don't know anymore what the heck they're up to. Riker Club. Yeah, isn't that an SOB? Says, so I had to keep a clean record, be a good citizen, go through a process to get a license, all for a bill that gives criminals more rights than me to carry. LOL. Yeah, actually. Look at that. For those of you watching, look what's on the screen right now. I mean, I know. Yes, I agree with you, apparently. What's happening, Bill Alexander? 41, 49, 41, 50. In my opinion, right in the face of what everyone calls the Bruin decision. Blatantly. Also 4127 and 4128. These are Michigan House Bill numbers for those of you that just joined me tonight. Taking a quick peek here. What's happening, Denny's Plant-Based Journey? Nice to see you, man. What's happening, Just Plinkin? Nice to see you. This stuff's literally nuts. Now, look, guys, I know you don't all live in Michigan, but a lot of you are just enjoying hanging out right now. This could come anywhere. They took a lot of these bills, like with the red flag, and just took carbon copies of them from other states that are either trying this stuff or already have it. Here's the crazy part. When I was listening to some of the testimony going on in the House committee hearing, I heard people from the anti-gun literally saying, like, you guys need to pass all of this no matter what. And then they say it's still not enough. Still not enough. They're looking to make the Capitol a completely gun-free zone. All places that are owned by the state of Michigan, all those other lists of things. Now, this is what you guys can look forward to in the future. Now, this is why we need to stop this right now, because they're taking a temperature check and seeing how little resistance they get. If they all think they can keep their jobs, this is just the beginning. I've heard this from the inside, so I can't cite my sources yet. But I heard there's another assault weapons ban bill brewing in the Michigan legislature right now behind the scenes. They're going to see what this stuff does. But they said it, and I was talking about it in that stream when literally the tragedy at MSU happened while I was streaming it. They had given out their plan to the Detroit Free Press, I believe it was. That streams on this channel. If you guys are bored one day, you can go back and listen to it. But yeah, they said, we're going to do this, this, and this, and it's just the start. And we're going to try to do it nice and easy and slowly. For them talking about magazine restrictions. So, yeah. This stuff's pretty bad, though. Red flag laws, those are the worst because they violate like half the Bill of Rights and literally violate what it means to be an American. And it don't matter. Red flag laws don't discriminate on what they confiscate. When they take your guns, they take all of them. Every last one. It could be your 6-shooter, your Heritage Rough Rider 22 long rifle revolver, or it could be a full auto AK. Every one in between, they take them all. Every last one of them. You're not allowed to have any firearms at all if you get flagged. So that's just end of story, really. If you guys want to know who to contact, I made a post on Locals. It's another place. It's a different site. It's a censorship-free community where I do extra content. I also post awesome deals, including an awesome one on M855 green tip. Like it's posted up there. I'm not promoting here. Can't say much more than that on YouTube because of all the strict policies. However, I also have a post that's linked in the description that shows you all of the bills. If you want to read every last one of them right now that's pending, as well as the most important part, a key list of members, House members and Senate members. I'm going to try to get back to Lansing tomorrow, guys. I'm not going to be able to spend all day there. I really wasn't planning on going tomorrow. I was going to try to go to next week, but I texted my state senator, Senator Joe Bellino, and this was around 7 p.m. or so. I said, hey, man, I don't know when you'll have time, but I want to talk about what's going on with this gun control in the Senate. And it wasn't 5 minutes later, and he called me, and he said, well, dude, I'm driving right now, actually, back home from the Capitol. And we talked for a few minutes, and yeah. He said, it's not good, babe. Like, there's a lot. It's not good. So I'm going to try to meet with him tomorrow in his office or out by the Senate, in the actual Capitol building itself. And I'll try to get you guys a little video with a Michigan senator to get his perspective from the Senate. You guys have seen more so far from people from the House on my channel. I want to talk to a senator tomorrow because they are two different chambers that together comprise the Michigan legislature. And there is some talk, and I saw some of it out of the corner of my eyes earlier in this stream, talking about things like immediate effect. And that is something that's in the Michigan Constitution. And in theory, the vote threshold for the House and Senate would determine on whether a bill gets immediate effect. However, due to procedural games and bending of the rules, we've seen them play fast and loose with the rules of the Michigan House so often, who knows what will happen there. However, as of right this minute, the Senate is still has a little more order and decorum, if you will, than the House. I don't know if some of you guys have seen some of the social media posts about what was happening in the Michigan House of Representatives with that originally, it was called the House Bill 4001, I think was the original name of it. It's been consolidated and changed to where now it's, I think it's 4016 or something. Look, it changes by the minute. I was out there talking to my representative, Jamie Thompson, yesterday for a couple minutes, and she's like, well, this bill got moved to this bill and consolidated to that. It's hard to keep up with the bill numbers, but here's the point you guys need to know. On a bill that was recently very important to them, they wouldn't even turn on the microphones or let anybody from the Republican side of the aisle even speak upon the bill. No debate, no anything. They also got rid of all of the committees. So this has happened in the Michigan House of Representatives within just the last couple weeks. Anything's possible. The Senate, they have different rules. Am I boring you guys? Because I know some of you guys want to know about this. So I am going to sit down for a few minutes somewhere in the Capitol. Look, people have committees to go to. They have meetings. They have all kinds of stuff. But he said give him a call, give him a text, and he would we'll find each other somewhere tomorrow. So I'm going to try to get with Senator Joe Bellino so he can give you guys a little perspective on what's going on from a senator's perspective, because that is important. It is important. They're both important bodies, but a member of the Michigan House of Representatives is going to have a different perspective, meaning there's two different angles at play here. There's the House and then there's the Senate. It has to pass through both. They both have different parliamentary rules, and the one body a little bit, and I say a little bit, is following their own rules a little bit more than the other body is. Is anyone's head spinning? I know someone's head spinning. You're like, what are you even talking about, dude? Like, they won't even follow their own rules like on the floor of the Michigan House? No, they won't. You can go to some of the members' Facebook pages where they're showing them trying to like yell out loud what their statement on the bill was going to be. And the Democrats are gaveling them down and turning off their microphones. We're talking every representative in Michigan, okay? That's the lower chamber, okay, of the Michigan legislature. There's over 100 of them. They represent about 90,000 people each in the state of Michigan. So when they're gaveling down and not even letting a Republican even speak against the bill, they're gaveling down 90,000 people. Isn't that crazy? So when Jamie Thompson speaks on the House floor, she's not just there speaking for herself. She's speaking for me and 90,000 other people. So anything could happen in the House. I'm serious, guys. There's about 10 House reps that I have their names, their email addresses, and phone numbers posted to locals. The link is right below this video that you're watching either now or on replay on YouTube. Those are ones that are probably the most vulnerable or the most effective, we'll just say, to call and write. If they're in your district, definitely tell them that. Even if they're not in your district, I don't see anything wrong with saying, hey, I'm not in your district, but these laws affect the whole entire state. Now, I'm going to leave with this because I saw a Crazy Heathen. Make sure you check out his channel, guys. I'm going to make a post, and I'll leave a link to it later tonight yet, because he's hosting the only rally that I know of right now in Michigan. I know some of you guys said you wanted one in Lansing. He's hosting one on the west side of the state. Hey, the man can only do what he can do. I can only do what I can do. I'm not an event organizer, but I'm beating the streets in my ways. Phil's doing what he's doing, and a lot of you guys are doing what you're doing. So he said they speak for each of us. Yes. And that's what I've been trying to do lately is, look, it's a culture war. I want it to be pop culture again, where people are like, I don't want to say for fun, but kind of. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Something we look forward to. We need to look forward to developing relationships with our reps and our senators. Once in a while, you'll find some that are really cool, and then you're going to luck out. Some of them not so cool, but if we want to have any freedom to exercise our natural God-given rights at all in this state, whoever you believe created you, okay, whoever created you, whatever created you, we might all believe we have different creators, but unless you believe Gretchen Whitmer created you, she's not your creator. So she didn't give you your rights. You need to keep reminding them they can't take them away. But we need to make it where we're actually going to our representatives' coffee hours. We need to make sure that once in a while we can at least pick up the phone to call their office. Right now, we all need to call their offices. As many offices as you can. I made a short list of probably the best ones to focus on if you guys want a little focus, direction over on that locals post, okay? Look, I don't even really have time for like friends at all. I own a very, very small business, barely even get to see my own family. It's tough. I mean, this is the governor that made it illegal for me to cut grass a couple years ago, guys. You remember that. And the economy has been only getting crappier ever since. And I know it's hard for all, if not almost all of you. But I get the notion from some people. I don't see anybody in the chat doing this tonight, but I see a lot of people that have this notion that they're like, if you even acknowledge your representative exists, like you're somehow giving in. And it's like, no. You're giving in if you become complacent with the tyranny that they're trying to vote through. This is what a Republican form of government is supposed to be. And I don't mean the Republican Party. I mean a republic if you can keep it. Like Ben Franklin said, we have a constitutional republic, which means there's a reason why we have United States representatives and United States senators. And there's a reason why in the state of Michigan we have state senators and state representatives. To me, any good American or Michiganian in this case, and I want to remind all of you who don't live in Michigan, you should be doing the same thing in your states. Because every state has some form of gun control in it, no matter what, even West Virginia. So even in West Virginia, and God bless you that you guys are now going to allow people to protect themselves on campuses. I love that. You still probably have some form of gun control. You should still be developing a relationship with your reps there. Doesn't mean you're kissing their butt. I mean, if you go in there and kiss their butt, well, then, yeah, you're kissing their butt. But for you to be developing a relationship with, where that front desk aide that answers the phone call starts to memorize the tone of your voice because you're calling because you're, keeping track of what's going on so much. That's a good thing, in my opinion. And I'm a very, very small channel. I'm not a celebrity, but I am going to the Capitol and I'm just trying to take pictures with a few reps and get some of them involved in videos for one reason only, to try to show you guys, to get rid of that veil, that wall, that there are actually people in these offices. Some of them are rather despicable. Other ones are actually fighting the good fight just as hard as you are. So when I go to Lansing and I list off 10 representatives that I happen to be able to talk to yesterday, that's just to try to encourage you guys that, dude, like, I'm a landscaper. I throw on some a little bit cleaner clothes and I go up there and I just walk in their offices and talk and tell them what's going on and what I'm concerned with. And conversations go different ways depending who you're talking to. Yes, we're looking at them keeping you informed on current issues and you informing them on current issues. It can work both ways, actually. It definitely can work both ways. Dude, there's been times, I'm serious, there's times where, like, where my representative is texting me, like, look out for this. And I'm like, okay. And then it might be the next day or lately, like the next hour, because this is how fast everything's evolving. I'm like, well, look out for this. I just heard that. And it's like, oh, was in a committee meeting. Didn't know about that yet. So, like, you can give your rep the heads up. They can give you the heads up. It can work both ways. Your senator. A lot of times we colloquially just say reps, but reps and senators. They're all representing you, but there's two different legislative bodies in Michigan. And while I want all of you to contact your federal representative and your 2 United States senators, many issues going on federally, we need to always be contacting them as well. It's a lot easier to actually develop a little bit of a relationship with your state rep and state senator. It really is. I'm not saying federal issues don't matter. I'm not at all. But we have this elephant of tyranny. And how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And I think people that are frustrated, that think that it just doesn't matter. I don't matter. Nothing matters. I like to have you start exploring your local level. You know, there's your school board. There's your township hall. Your city hall if you live in a city limit proper. Your county board of commissioners. If you want to talk to any of those people, I guarantee you can. What I've said so far, like, I promise you, if you go to any of those meetings, you will literally be able to sit in the audience, and as soon as they adjourn it, there might be 1 or 2 people ahead of you, but you'll be able to walk up and, like, at least exchange phone numbers or tell them something briefly, like, literally no matter what, when you start off that small. And I encourage you to, up to the state level. It's not as easy as just, like, you can't walk, like, right out on the House floor and talk to them during. However, they're very attainable. You can actually, like, go into their offices and say, is Representative Thompson there? You always hear her name because she's awesome, but she's my state rep. She represents me. Okay. I voted to Senator Lansing, and here's the thing with her. I like her a lot, but I'm going to hold her more accountable than any of them. So I'm going to support her harder than anyone because she's my rep, but I'm also going to hold her more accountable than all of them. It works both ways, and it needs to. But you can go into her office, and if you go into her office, you'll see a guy named Sam at the front desk. And if she's your representative and you say, I'd like to speak with Representative Thompson. I'm sorry, she's in committee right now. She's over at the other building. Okay, I'd like to schedule a meeting. I guarantee you, maybe not every rep, but I'd say at least 90% of them, you can actually do that. Okay. Or if you tell them, I would like the representative to call me back. I don't want to speak for all of them, but I've gone around to quite a few of their offices, and for the most part, I think most of them will. All right, I'm going to take another quick peek at the chat here. Yes, and there's ways to be very pointed and very stern. And this is just my recommendation because, look, I appreciate all of your right to free speech. But sometimes people just ask me, how do I talk? What do I do? Some of you aren't going to like me saying this again, but I don't care because this is my honest answer. I don't recommend being inherently mean or violent. There might be a time for that someday. There might be, look, I'm just talking about if you want to talk to them on the phone, if you want to write them a letter, an email, if you want to go to their office, because really, quite frankly, it ain't going to do you that much good. when you're trying to deliberate and you're trying to come up with, just at the very least, them just understanding that, hey, they're going to lose your vote. Maybe you're trying to convince them to change their mind, whatever. Usually when you just walk up to someone and say, F you, mother effing, bleepity bleep bleep, I'm going to bleepity bleep bleep. But I mean, if you go too far, you could find yourself in jail. I'm sure you don't want that. But even if you don't go that far, most people just want to get in a fight when that happens. And you can actually find people, this is just human nature. This is almost everybody I know anyways. You just walk up and just roar it in and go, I'm going to mother bleepity bleep you right now. Dude, they're just going to put up a wall and like just totally discount you. And I don't know. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own way. Yes. And I want you to be you. And I'm not telling you to kiss their butt. I'm not saying that at all. But I think if you can just stay measured, it's probably best. Just try to have a little bit of measure when you're having these conversations, if you know what I mean. A lot of people are telling me how I just need to get out of this state. You know what? I understand why you guys are saying that. I could come up with an hour argument against it. I don't have time because I'm getting ready to get off in just a minute here, but I will just say this for tonight. I do understand why you guys are saying that. I get it. I do. I'm trying to fight the fight here. Look, they put off that committee till next week. You guys heard me earlier, hopefully. I don't want to quite call it good news, but it's a teeny sliver of maybe silver lining. If for nothing else, it gives us more time to keep letting them know what the will of the people are in this state. Patrick Fowlers with a super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. Looks like we have a George Washington quote. Says that no man should scruple or hesitate a moment to use arms in defense of so valuable a blessing on which all the good and evil of life depends, is clearly my opinion. George Washington. I'll tell you what, there's lots of founding fathers quotes that literally exemplify and actually like that are 10 times more than just what the Second Amendment says. Clearly, we know why the Second Amendment was written. It wasn't about hunting. It wasn't about collecting. Although living in a country where you have property rights is about collecting. It's perfectly fine to collect guns, actually. However, it wasn't written for that. And it wasn't written for hunting, because if you didn't hunt, you wouldn't eat. It was there to protect yourself. From who? Well, maybe somebody down the street. Maybe somebody across town. Maybe a foreign invading military. Or maybe, just maybe, actually, definitely, against your own tyrannical government. It's just they had just fought off a tyrannical government to form these United States of America. It's obvious why the Second Amendment was written down that didn't grant you the right to keep and bear arms, but told the government shall not be infringed. And I think it's pretty clear if you look at why the Second Amendment was written. Well, it says so itself. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. So if you want to be free, it's necessary. And the Founding Fathers knew that. Well, the despots, if they want a non-free state, if they want to be dictatorial and totalitarian in their ways, then they also know what the Second Amendment says, and they know that they need to defeat it and get rid of it. Yes, sir. What's happening, Harry Grimley? Nice to see you, man. What's happening, Mike? How you doing, dude? I posted something on my locals about what's going on in Pennsylvania, guys. They have a whole long list of stuff in Pennsylvania. So if you're in Pennsylvania, get alert, get ready. Everything I've been talking about tonight, just substitute the word Michigan for Pennsylvania. So lots of support and encouragement to you Pennsylvanians that are out there, and, well, many other states, quite frankly. Steven Richards says, I'm about to have ammo fall off the shelf. Now, that's kind of an optical illusion. It looks like it's getting ready to fall. It's just shadow boxing it because those boxes are a little bit longer than others. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys one more time. For those of you that just ran in here, I'm going to get off, and I'll be back on this channel like normal soon. If you go to my locals community, it's another site, censorship-free site. I post lots of stuff there I can't hear. If you look in the link of this description of this video on YouTube, you are going to see a link to a locals post that has all of these gun control bills where you can look at them, print them, read them yourself, forward them to your friends, family, whatever. And also a list of probably the senators and representatives to kind of focus on with the contacting them the most, and others. So make sure you guys go check that out. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I just wanted to get the word out. I wanted to give you guys a place to talk. And right as I'm getting ready to leave, I see Jane Locke's in here. What's happening, Jane? Nice to see you. I see Jeff Jamrose. I see Tree Guys saying bye to me. We the people. Geez, I'm trying to get out of here tonight, but there's lots of good people hanging out. We've got Chanzig in the chat. What's happening? All right, no problem, Bill Alexander. Nice to see you, dude. Misty Mrs. Wayne. What's happening, Kurt24? Nice to see you, Kurt. Right's not tradition. What's happening? Another quote by George Mason. I ask not who are the militia. They consist now of the whole people, except a few public officers. Yes. And that was when Virginia was ratifying the Constitution, I do believe. All right, Crazy Heathens talking about the Michigan Liberty Militia. I already have a post about that rally that he's putting on over there on Facebook. I'll get it up on YouTube as soon as I, well, quite frankly, get up and go pee, because I need to do that now since I've been sitting here so long. And then I'll get back on my computer and get some more posts done. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.